percentage of men and women aged 60 years or over living independently by region, with a spouse only or alone. 전 세계적으로는 혼자 사는 여성이 더 많은데 혼자 사는 남성은 더 적어. 배우자랑 둘이 사는 남성은 더 많지. 남성은 대체로 배우자랑 둘이 살고 여성은 혼자 살거나 뭐 자녀랑 살거나 그러나 보지. Europe female with a spouse only, alone and spouse only. 전체적으로 어쨌든 혼자 사는 남성의 비율은 더 적군요. 그럼 혼자 못 살지. 모지라서 혼자 못 살지. The above graph shows the percentages of elderly men and women aged 60 or over living independently, alone or with a spouse only, in 2010 by region. Globally, 40% of elderly women and 41% of elderly men lived independently after age 60. Okay. Africa, Asia, and Latin America and the Caribbean had lower percentages of elderly men and women living independently than the world average. Caribbean and Latin America, Africa, Asia. Latin, Asia, Africa. 전반보단 다 낮아. Europe had the highest percentages of elderly men and women living independently, immediately followed by Northern America. Okay. The percentage of elderly men living independently was higher than that of their female counterparts in each of the regions except in Europe. 반대로 말한 것 같은데? The percentage of elderly men living independently was higher, 맞네, than that of their female counterparts in each of the regions. 전반적으로 독립해서 사는 남성들의 그게 더 높기는 한데 58 더하기 17은 75, 39 더하기 36은 75. 유럽은 동일한 것 같고 아프리카는 여자가 더 많아. Except in Europe was higher. 잘 모르겠는 거. 왠지 같은 게 유럽에 있으니까. The percentage of elderly women living alone was lower than that of elderly women living with a spouse only in each of the regions, except in Africa. The percent of 혼자 사는 여성은 배우자와 사는 여성보다 대체로 다 낮은데, 그치, 다 낮은데 아프리카에서만 반대다. 그러므로 number 4. 이번에 4번 맞았다. Number 3. Revenues per segment. Global games market. Mobile games, PC games, console games. 게임 시장은 점점 늘어나고 있군. 오. The above graph shows the revenues of the global games market per segment from 2012 to 2018. The total revenues of global games market steadily increased from 70.6 billion in 2012 to 137.9 billion in 2018, right? During this period, mobile games grew from the smallest segment to the biggest. okay, correct. Eventually taking up more than half of the total revenues of the entire global games market in 2018. True. While the revenue of mobile games was less than half of that of console games in 2012, right? It was more than that of console games in 2015. No, they tied. So number 3 is incorrect. The revenue of PC games was 30% or more of the total revenues for 5 years before it dropped to under 25% in 2017. Was 30% or more of the total revenues for 5 years before PC 빗금이 언제나 30% 이상이었는데 여기부터 떨어졌고, right. While console games generated the most revenue among the three segments in 2012, 그치? Their proportion of overall revenues continuously shrank thereafter, right. So number 3 would be my answer. Number 3, right? 틀렸어? The revenue of PC games was 30% or more of the total revenues for 5 years before it dropped to under... Oh, yes. 2017년에 under 25%가 아니었어. Then number 3, while the revenue of mobile games was less than half than that of console games in 2012, console games, yes, it was less than half. It was more than that of console games in 2015, console games and mobile games. It was more than that of console games in... Isn't it right? While that... Okay, until this, it's correct. It was more than that of console games in... Oh, yes, so correct. So this sentence is giving correct information all the way through. I mistook. Then number 4, yes, okay, I was wrong. Got it. Percentage of 2011 to 12 beginning post-secondary students who ever changed majors in the US. STEM, non-STEM, mathematics, natural sciences, engineering and engineering technology, computer and information sciences, education, humanities, general studies, and other. Social sciences, business, healthcare fields, other applied. What is STEM? Science and technology and engineering and mathematics? Yes, okay. The graph above shows the percentages of post-secondary students who ever changed majors within 3 years of initial enrollment by original declared field of study, whereas 35% of students who had originally declared a STEM major changed their field of study. Okay, 35% of students who had originally declared a STEM major changed their field of study, and 29% of those who had originally declared a non-STEM major did so. Yes. Mathematics majors changed majors at a higher rate than students in any other field across both STEM and non-STEM majors. 수학이 어려웠나 봐요. Yes. Among students in STEM fields, those